correctly with the correct amount.
D20 Radio, where gamers roll.
www.d20radio.com.
Welcome to the How We Roll Gaming podcast, and welcome to 2026, everybody. We made it.
We made it indeed.
We are in the future. We
Where
are
is the hoverboards?
Well, Bob Zemeckis took them all. Zemeckis took them all.
We'll work towards it. Don't you worry.
Which Jaws are we on now?
We are on Jaws 37, and the shark still looks fake.
Obviously, it has to.
It's 3D again as well.
Yes, it's 3D again, but it's the good 3D. It's like the Avatar 3D that was actually pretty decent.
I haven't seen it myself, but I'll take your word for it.
Avatar 3, when they're in the Fire Nation?
No, the first one was in 3D. When I saw the first one in theaters, I actually saw it in 3D, and it was really good.
The 3D does hold up, even at home.
I haven't even thought about trying to watch it in 3D at home, but
yeah, I've never tried that before.
Like when we went to see the first one, near the end, when the D-bag humans have attacked Home Tree, and there's all of the embers that are floating to the ground and stuff. Like, that looked like it was all around you. The embers floating down and
solid 3D work.
Yep. Yeah, because the trick to good 3D is you don't try to do the shock of having something come like straight at the camera.
Like Jaws 3D.
Yeah, we're
you don't do that. You just you layer the environment.
So you feel inside there instead of the shark just slowly, just like very obviously,
slowly approaching, and then like the mirror break effect.
Yeah,
we are in our second year now of the podcast, and they said it wouldn't last. They said it wouldn't last. We have some stuff on tap for this year that's gonna be pretty awesome.
We intend to compete with the Creepcast.
I don't know what that is. So
I do, but I'll let Nick's doing it.
Who am I kidding? We're not gonna beat that.
I'll take your word for it. So I know that right after Christmas, my son and I ran into Robert at our friendly local game store during their sale.
Yes, you did. 2-for-1 deal. Love those deals.
Yes, their buy two get one free sale. Yes, I love their buy two get one free sale. What all did you get, Robert?
Just to get caught up, I got the 26 D&D player manual and the monster manual, a few more Star Wars books, and then what else? Oh, and I also got the Daggerheart core and box set.
It's a solid box set. I haven't got it myself.
It really is.
You've shown it to me, Daryl. Yeah. I was like, if I can get my hands on it, I'll probably definitely add it to my collection.
Oh, and the Random Encounters book for Game Masters.
Oh, that's also really good. Really good.
Did you end up not getting Arkham Horror?
Oh yeah, I got that too.
Oh, good. Yeah, we need to finally get Horror on the table this year.
We really do.
That's a solid haul.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, got 6, got 2 free, so it was a good deal.
Yeah, I didn't get too much. I did my big spending with them the week of Thanksgiving. The week of Christmas, I just got the new D&D starter set because all of the reviews that I've seen are it's a great value for the money, and it is because yeah, they upped the price from like 20, $25 to 50, but you get a lot in it now. And also the new Arkham Horror setting book, Welcomes to Kingsport, I believe it's called. And see, now I need to actually look it up to make sure that I'm giving the right name for it, because otherwise it's going to drive me crazy. And since we know people who worked on it, they will, if they're listening, they'll be screaming at me that I got the name wrong if I got the name wrong. So I just
Yeah, because I know the core book has, of course, Arkham, Innsmouth, Dunwich, Providence, I think. I
There's
think there's a fifth
it's
one.
most of the East Coast, really.
not Welcome to Kingsport, Dreams of Kingsport.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
I
That's
knew,
the
I
title.
knew you had the town right, but I didn't think you had like the title right.
Yeah, I knew I didn't have the title right, but
I knew
so
you had
that's
the
why.
town right. The town right was like,
Yeah.
Kingsport.
And then for the third item, our son got a Lego set. He got the Star Wars Lego Acclamator. Or no, we bought that for him for Christmas. I forget which set he got for
But still, the
at the
Acclimator is a
sale.
big one.
That's a very big one.
No, the Acclamator
depending on the one you
It's still fairly big. Most of them aren't that wide.
And we're both looking forward now, since neither of us has room for the Ultimate Collector's Set Venator. We're looking forward to sometime in the next month or so they're releasing a Venator at that same scale as the Acclamator, in the same series where they put out the Tantive 4 and the smaller Star Destroyer and the smaller Millennium Falcon. Yeah, we're looking forward to the Venator, because at first he was like, well, then we'll have to fight over it. And I was like, why don't we just both get one? Oh yeah, we could do that. So sometimes I kind of feel like Hank Hill.
That boy ain't right.
I say that about a lot of things, and we use it in our games too.
Yep. Anything noteworthy for you like that, Nick?
Just had a great new year. I was very happy that you guys liked the gifts I got you this year.
Yes.
Yep. Nick bought us all new cars, everyone.
Very much. At least above 50K.
Yep. No, we had Nick had gotten himself a new lap desk for his laptop, and it was delivered during one of our game sessions, and we all half jokingly were talking about how you ordered enough for the whole group, right? And well, so for Christmas he did.
Yes.
I did. But mainly because I didn't realize how good of a lap desk it was. When I opened it up, I was like, oh.
Yeah, it was a good surprise for all of us. And thank you again, Nick.
Not only had I been looking at getting myself a new lap
desk,
desk,
also relatively inexpensive. So it wasn't a huge blessing in the bank to get literally 5 lap desks.
Well, and not only, had I been looking at getting a new lap desk myself already anyway, but as I was going through my Amazon list the other day, I told you this weekend at the game. That very lap desk is the one that I had picked months ago before yours was delivered.
Oh, it was
and I
the
just
first
hadn't
thing
bought it yet.
I told you, it was like literally typed in lap desk on Amazon. I was like, well, I'm gonna need one due to my new setup of my house, of my living room. So I needed one. So all right, I'll go over the typed in Amazon. First thing that came up, oh, that's a reasonable price. Came in, it's like, no, this is actually really good.
Yep. Although I am going to have to slap a sticker on mine, since we have 2 in the house, and that what our son was like, well, why they're the same design and same. It's like, yes, but inevitably one of them will get beaten up more than the other. And
So a
as
segue.
always, we want to let you know about one of the other great podcasts here on the D20 Radio Network. And every time this is our spotlight podcast, I have to take a deep breath because it's a long title. The Wondrous Atlas of Creation's Destiny, an Exalted podcast.
Say that 6
Gesundheit.
times fast. And the Wondrous
Right.
Atlas covers the lore and setting of the Exalted RPG. Each topic is split into 2 episodes, one to cover the lore of a given subject, and the other discussing ways to use it in the game.
An incredible resource and great podcast to listen to.
Yep. So head to your favorite podcast outlet of choice and check out the Wondrous Atlas of Creation's Destiny.
Gesundheit.
You can make a game out of it.
Yes, we can make a drinking game out of it.
I'd win.
You win every drinking game, Nick.
Yeah, very much so.
Are we ready to dive into our subject?
We
Yeah.
are ready.
So early last year, early in the podcast, we did an episode on our Session Zero Manifesto. And you can always go back and check that episode out in our back history. And that would be episode, taking a quick look here. It was our 6th episode, episode 6. Our Session
Good
Zero
number, good
Manifesto. And during that conversation, we talked about how, as groups evolve, Session Zero can evolve. And so we decided that as long as it is pertinent and relevant, every year we would update our Session Zero Manifesto. So this is the 2026 update of our Session Zero Manifesto. Now,
Yes.
as we dive in, I do want to mention, Robert mentioned the game just a few minutes ago. I've mentioned it several times, but with the release of Daggerheart, Critical Role's Darrington Press went a step further than most other RPGs, if not every other RPG. And in the book and on their site, they've got resources dedicated to Session Zero. And I was reading through them again the other day before this episode. Pretty good, pretty concise. It's about 4 to 8 pages, somewhere in there in the book. They've got downloadable resources for Session Zero, and a lot of what they're talking about are a lot of the things that we talked about in our previous Session Zero manifesto.
And again, Session Zero isn't a. It's been a concept that's been passed around. It's become more mainstream as like more YouTubers have and D&D content creators and game master content creators have talked about it.
Yes, because it's
And-
always important to be prepared and to be on the same page as your players and GM as you go forward.
Right.
It's just that
You wanna be
Daggerheart is one
sure
of the
that-
first that really made it codified into its actual rule set.
Exactly.
But they're not the first
And-
nor the only, because there's multiple systems that have also been including the concept of a Session Zero.
Right. And you not only want to make sure that you're all on the same page, you want to gather those expectations from your players and from yourself as the GM to make sure that everybody is expecting the same kind of experience from the game. For instance, if someone walked in and say we were starting a new campaign in the How We Roll group for Call of Cthulhu. Or no, let's not say
go
Call
into
of
it.
Cthulhu. Let's not say Call of Cthulhu, because that's a more known quantity. Let's say Arkham Horror.
Yeah.
We're getting an Arkham Horror campaign going, let's say. it's less of a known quantity.
New game that we know, but it does have it has the advantage of we know each other, but also we know the setting, sort of.
Well, and what I was thinking of is you have a new player coming in, and we have had a new player who's been in the past couple of months of our games.
Yes.
And so let's say we have this same new player coming in who doesn't know Arkham Horror, doesn't know what to expect, and they are, based on past interactions with us, they're expecting shenanigans and a little bit of wackiness. And that's not what Arkham Horror is about. Now, you can have shenanigans and wackiness because our friend GM Chris at Gamer Nation Con last year ran Arkham Horror with the pre-gens being the Scooby Gang from Scooby-Doo.
Yes, and even in a horror type genre, there is still scenes of comedy. Like Aliens, there's comedy. In like The Thing, there's comedy. There's always a little bit of comedy, but it doesn't override the horror.
The levity helps build the scenario in those, and when we discuss about like horror games and stuff like that, a moment of levity and shenanigans helps sell the horror vibe.
Right. You have to have that moment of slight release so that you can then start ratcheting the tension back up. You want to give that little bit of a breather.
Yeah, but if, say, this new player was thinking it's going to be the same atmosphere and direction as our Fallout RPG game, where the game is designed to be over the top, extreme, and very funny, that wouldn't fit in this type of game.
Right. Or like we're going to finally in a couple of weeks get Star Trek Adventures on the table for us, which I'm looking forward to.
Intriguing.
Now, even if you have a group of players who are familiar with Star Trek, you still have to set the idea of tone, because are we playing original series? Are we playing Next Generation, which has a different vibe to it? Are we playing Deep Space Nine, which has
the best vibes,
a more serialized vibe and a slightly more serious vibe overall? Or are we in what some people refer to as New Trek, where, for instance, what I don't have a problem with this, but one of the complaints that I've heard from people regarding Strange New Worlds, which is an awesome show, is that the characters speak in far too contemporary a language. They're used to Star Trek having a certain rhythm to the dialogue and a cadence, and not speaking in present day idioms and things like that. Whereas the Strange New Worlds characters do frequently use present day idioms. And so you're setting that tone. We're not even talking about...
They're talking a lot like in contemporary, like actually taking into the lore. It's like they're actually talking in like outdated slang.
Right. But so
it's kind of funny.
That all goes into setting the expectations. Now,
but wait. What if we want to do Voyager and two of us become weird lizard monsters?
Well, what happens if we're doing Voyager? What happens if we're doing Voyager and two of you become fused into one new unique Gestalt being, and the captain decides to just murder you in cold blood to get the two other crew members back?
Well, then that's going to be an interesting story point.
Yep.
That was an episode.
I believe you.
episodes of Voyager, there's like, that was an episode.
What were they thinking? But the good thing about Voyager is by the time of the next session, none of what happened in the previous session matters because there's very little episode to episode continuity and consistency.
Yeah, it's like new planet every week.
all of that is our hopefully fun way of just talking about the different levels of setting expectations. You're not just setting tone, you're setting the flavor of
kind of
we were talking about Fallout earlier, and like Fallout can be either deadly serious or wacky,
or wacky
and
nonsense.
both. It can be
or
both.
If
like you can have some
want
serious moments, but it's more like we're currently in the wacky area, but you can, because of the nature of the setting and story, it can become more serious.
We're in the wacky area, but stuff did get real this weekend when we played with one party member's hand being bitten off.
Yes, but we also had the other one where our vault characters didn't know what caps were as currency, so my character kept trying to pay with money, and people were like, "This is useless." I'm like, "No, it's money."
Both worked in the same scenario, but that's because both extremes exist in the story of this thing. It'd be a bit different if say if we were in a Delta Green session. Well, wackiness would usually be met with the hard wall of seriousness.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna fast talk the Cthulhu spawn into sparing you.
Or if we want to go with another, as we record this, still in the headlines, pop culture property. If you're doing a horror game, is it outright horror? Is it a supernatural horror thing like say The Thing, which does have some punctuations of wackiness? Or is it Stranger Things, where you're delving a lot on the characters that's punctuated with horror, and you have fun kids on bikes, one of whom has lived her entire life being tortured in a lab,
and weird flower monster thing.
Yeah, all set in the 80s at the height of the Cold War.
So you can always blame the commies.
You're setting up that tone for it. Now, one of the other things that we mentioned doing in Session Zero in our previous episode that seems to have been gaining popularity, and to clarify, we are not taking credit for this. We are not the first ones to do this. We're not the first ones to say this, but we just happened to mention it at a time that it has started rolling, is the Daggerheart Session Zero chapter mentions running a quick intro adventure during your Session Zero.
Personally, that's just sort of been, since I've done introductory games, my quote unquote Session Zero will always include like a starter adventure.
Yeah. A prologue, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. What we call the 0.5 session.
Yeah.
And
just because
not only
it helps get the players involved in like the mechanics of the game.
Right. It helps establish the mechanics, and not only does Daggerheart mention it in the core rulebook, just a couple of months ago, Ginny D did an entire episode about doing this. And I was like, hey, wait, I recognize that idea.
Again, it's not an original idea. It's a thing that's been around in the tabletop community.
Yes, and barring like one system, it's almost something you can always have. Like I think the closest we've had to not running a session 0.5 was Legend of the Five Rings, because that thing took like 4.5 hours to make your characters.
But
amazing
that's
character
also
creation, but it's like that was, but in of itself, the it sort of made up for it because of how deep that character builder is.
Yep. And once we get a couple more sessions under our belt, we need to do one of our system spotlight episodes on Five Rings.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, because we definitely want to play another session of that.
It's this month, so
yeah. What else have we come to over the past year, give or take, since our Session Zero Manifesto episode, that we have wanted to bring up as an update to Session Zero? I know throughout the year there's been stuff that's like, hey, we should mention that in our update, and we didn't have the notes document yet. So
I have something personal for me.
I think I'll start because I have just a pretty basic one. Basically, in a Session Zero, you all talk about the universe, what you're expecting, what vibes you want, what things you don't want to come in. But then a very simple one, it's kind of in top of scheduling, it's just where you guys going to meet, where you're going to play this. Like in our Session Zeros, it's pretty known that we go to Nick's house. But then there was one time I ran my first campaign in Star Wars to where it was at Nick's house. But
just because it was
kind of rewrite it to where it would be at my house or my parents' house at the time.
It was convenient at the time that like everyone knew you could just easily on the meetup just click my house.
Exactly. So when you get together, you need to discuss, okay, this is how we're gonna do it, probably when we're gonna do it. But now, where are we gonna do it? Is there a big enough place? Who owns the place? What are we gonna do for food if we go long? Just a simple thing like that. Like, where are you gonna play?
Yep. Are we doing it at our friendly local game store? Are we doing it at another gaming venue? Are we doing it at somebody's house?
If we're doing pizza, are we gonna all chip in, or is it one person pay pizza?
Yes, and even where we're gonna get the pizza, because we did transition from one pizza place to another over time.
Yep, because the first place was really expensive.
Oh, so expensive.
It was really expensive. And they're no longer existing anymore.
Oh, so they fully
they were a ghost. Well, the first place doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
The ghost kitchen that you started using, I'm sure, is still around.
Likely. But they're no longer like even remotely possible to get inexpensively.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, just a simple thing like that. So start off little, now we can move on to Nick.
But I was gonna say, it's like, especially since I'm running Delta Green and horror in general, knowing sort of like hard limits on like scares of like disturbing elements is a good thing for me to know. And it's something that if you're running like horror or games that have like gore or elements like that, you should let your players know, like, all right, we might experience something that is this beyond disturbing. Where is your limit?
Yeah, and we mentioned that in the original episode, that you set standards for content, what people can and can't deal with, not only what they can and can't deal with, but what they will and won't deal with.
Yeah, basically what they can stomach.
Yes, because I actually remember, because it kind of shocked me for a minute when we were doing the Cyberpunk session last time, and Nick asked, "I gotta ask, are those drawn to size?" And I was looking at it, I was like, "Oh, no, that's not a child. I'm just bad at drawing."
like that didn't personally offend me, but I was like, I just need to recognize, like, okay, what am I looking at? But also for those that I do, that like someone like Betsy has a great deal of like I would probably feel upset if it's
that was one of the lines in the start anyway. So I had to make sure, like, no, I just am bad at like scaling
I have
people.
No sense of
That's a
scale.
normal person. That's either a normal person or a midget. That's it.
Because and we even made fun of the fact. We even like made light of that when you had the really long guy.
Yes. Very much so.
Because like I did like have to ask, like, just to make sure that we're looking at this properly. But like this again, that's not a problem to ask your DM, like, to sort of like put a time out. Can we ask a question about what scene we're looking at?
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's something worth mentioning, because I don't think we explicitly stated in the first episode in last year's manifesto that you want to make sure that your players know that it is okay to bring up concerns, questions, things like that. You don't want to be that GM from a GM horror story, from an RPG horror story, that is like, no, this is the adventure that we are playing, and this is how we are playing it. Problematic elements and all, deal with it, or there's the door.
Do not question me.
That is the reason why the Session Zero has, like, as we described in the previous episode, about like talk about limits and hard stops, is like the players are still allowed to, like, if the GM is skirting around those, or like pushing the limits, the players do have the agency to say, hey, remember the Session Zero.
This is not the agreement that we made.
Yes, and
that's possibly something else that you could do. I haven't seen anything formally suggest this anywhere, but I'm sure someone has somewhere. But once you come up with all of those agreements, once you come up with all of those agreements in Session Zero, make sure that the players have access to all of those agreements, whether you post it online, whether you pin it in a Discord, put it on a website somewhere where you're keeping all of your campaign information, or just plain jot it down in a Word document and print it out and give it to everybody at the first full session.
Can definitely help.
That might not be a bad idea, and that might be something that I do with the next campaign that I start. Is after we do Session Zero, put down all of the agreements from Session Zero.
We have a pretty general, I say, as the How We Roll Gaming group, general like limits and stuff like that. That it sort of evolves based on the campaign, but since we know each other, it's much more malleable. But especially if you are doing games with people that you don't know as well, always understand and respect the limits, and it's always easier to do so when you put it down on a paper.
Right? I mean, we had been reached out to, and we just never took them up on it yet, and they're now looking for a new venue, a new physical location. But one of the local gaming venues had reached out to us about if we wanted to run any of our games there. And I had considered doing like a 3-4 hour per week or every other week, weekly or bi-weekly session there on, like, say, Wednesday nights or something. Just to kind of, spread the How We Roll gaming love. Those would have been people that weren't part of our core group. So once they land again in a new location, if we take them up on that, then that's definitely something to consider. Put down the agreements and guidelines and make sure that everyone has access to it. And also, that's helpful then if you have a new player come in mid-campaign, you can direct them to give them a copy if it's a hard copy, point them to the pinned post on Discord, point them to the website and say, hey, I know you weren't here for session 0. Just so you know, here are all of the guidelines that we've established. If there are any no-go subjects or anything like that for you, please let me know now, and we can amend the agreement to accommodate you coming in as a new person.
And even then, there should always be like, I'm not sure if this is like, since we're talking mostly Session Zero, maybe in the future we should talk about like how integrating new players into an established group, because
We
that's
did
a
that.
difficulty.
Yeah, we did that last year.
Yeah, but there's always room to like look into that into the future.
Okay, and I think a good addition to all that is that you can also coordinate resources, because Daryl and I are kind of, I'm kind of spoiled because Daryl and Nick have every book known to planet on these topics, on these campaigns that we play, but not every group is going to have that friend that owns every 50 books of the same topic, and then the previous versions and the future versions, that you're going to have to be like, okay, we're playing this game. I have maybe this player book, my GM book, so you can't see that one. So we only have like one book. So who else may be interested in getting another book? So we at least have two at the table so people can look over them. Because sometimes we coordinate. I know in Fallout, Nick had his, and then your son brought his, just so we had two to go through.
Yep, and I'm planning on getting my own.
Yeah, and when you do, you bring up your Arkham one. I now have a book I can bring, just be safe.
Yep. Yeah,
Delta Green. I think we each have a Delta Green handbook between all of us.
Yep. Robert, the reason I have all of those is because no one has staged an intervention for me. This carries over from decades of being a comics collector. I get very completionist.
I can do that. I can be that sometimes.
Technically, I have turned it into my career. So I if I can, and thankfully to the things how we roll, I can write off some of it as a tax expense.
Yeah.
Yes,
I was like that with Legend of the Five Rings. I was like, I need every single book.
It's not an addiction. It's not an addiction. It's a tax expense.
I am fighting the urge, since what we're going to be playing Star Trek Adventures in is 2nd edition, and I only have 2 books, the core rule book, the ship source book, and the starter game, the beginner game for 1st edition. When I walk into stores, now that I know 1st edition is out of print, I resist the urge to buy the 1st edition books just to be a completionist. It's like, I have them all in PDF thanks to Humble Bundle, and I'm going to have
out.
Oh, Humble Bundle.
Out.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to make conversions from 1st edition to 2nd edition anyway to use any of that information. So I don't need the physical book.
You get
I don't
so much work, Daryl. You're gonna be so miserable doing that.
Yeah, but I do that too, because I'm like, I got this PDF, but it's much harder to scroll through all those pages than just having a physical one where I can do this.
Oh yeah,
there's so much love and care. It's just fun to flip a page.
But steering the
there's something special about flipping through an RPG book. It's like,
steering this back to Session Zero, though, that is something to establish at Session Zero. Part of why I have all of the Star Wars books is, after playing a session or two using the current system at Nick's, I decided that I had been in the process of planning a campaign that was going to use the old West End system. And then I played a couple of sessions using the current system at Nick's. My son got involved and learned that system. I'm like, well, he was going to play in the other one too, so let's just make it simple and do that. So partly I was buying all of the books because I was going to be running it too. But there is something to be said. I'm steering it back to topic after steering off topic when I steered back. But with the Star
You're
Wars
doing the
system,
weave.
really a player only needs the core rule book if they want to have a book.
Yeah.
But what can be helpful is, there's a very good chance that the GM will have most or all of the pertinent books. But say if you're playing a smuggler for Edge of the Empire, then it makes sense if you're the player and you have a copy of the core rulebook to get a copy of the smuggler book
Yeah, flying casual.
as well. Yeah. Because then it has the extra
Yeah.
specializations and
It again that does
Yeah.
help.
Motivations,
so-
backgrounds, stuff like that.
Theoretically, if your GM has quote unquote in this system the core rulebook for Edge of the Empire, then a much easier investment for the player would be like get your specialization
Well-
book, and you could borrow
and
the book,
that's-
the core rulebook to help establish.
And that's where I was going with this. You at Session Zero, you can set as the GM the, for want of a better term, expectation. These are the books that I have for the system. Let's say, and not to pick on Robert, but Robert mentioned that he doesn't have all of the Star Wars books where we do. Robert ran a Star Wars game from home, so it would be perfectly reasonable to say, since he didn't have access to your books or my books while he was running that campaign from home, I have the core rule book for this system, and I have this book and this book. I do not have the specialization career book for your character's career, Nick. So if you would like that book, you can purchase that book and bring it in, but you don't need to buy the rest of the books.
And just as you could also advertise that in sort of like a pre-Session Zero like idea. It's like when you're putting that out there, it's like I have this types of books. If you have additional material, you could ask them, say like, if you have additional material, feel free to bring that. Some players may want to peruse that, including the GM or other players.
Yes. And then we'll say this one is from usually for the campaign systems that have a good maybe over 5 type of books like D&D and Star Wars. There are some universes that are still like singular at most, maybe 3 main books. Like Cyberpunk pretty much only has 1 core rule book. The rest is just fluff, additional stuff you can buy or attach to yourself. Walking Dead, I think, is still 1 book about still 1 book.
1 book, yeah.
Walking Dead is still the core rule book.
Yeah. Delta Green really is just the core book and the Handler's Guide, which is the GM book. The rest is actually just additional information, usually for GMs instead, rather than for
Mostly
players.
adventures.
There is one
Mostly adventures and campaigns.
There is one softcover book that is more player focused, giving you
player
more
agency.
options. For like government agencies.
But like the lion's share of it is like adventures and campaigns.
Right.
What we're talking about here is more for like Star Wars, D&D, Legend of the Five Rings, because you have to really dig in to find some specific things. It's like, oh, you want to play that clan? Well, it's in this book. So
Fallout and Aliens, they only have 2 books respectively post-core rulebook that have like different character archetypes and options, but it's like still very useful.
Daggerheart, I think, only has 1 book still.
Yeah, Daggerheart only has the 1, but they've announced their next book.
I believe them, but it's still important. And I think
either way, like understanding who has what and being honest with that in your Session Zero is like, if you have books, let them know that like I have this many books. If there's additional books that you may have or you already are interested in, come with those.
Basically, we could summarize all of this as setting up what resources are readily available and that the players may want to get for themselves. But speaking of obtaining PDFs, just plug. We do have a drive-through RPG affiliate link. So if you should avail yourself of purchasing resources through drive-through RPG, affiliate link in the notes. Feel free to use our affiliate link and give us a few pennies here and there to help keep the podcast going.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're asking them to help out the podcast.
Yes. And then I think another thing that's important in the Session Zero is, especially as a GM, to just clear out and say, hey, we're playing this game. It's a universe that's new to me as well. So I don't expect to be the rules lawyer that knows everything. I'm going to make mistakes. Feel free to call me out on it. I'll call myself out on it because my example was in the last Cyberpunk session we played, I had a bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
Who I incorrectly read the stats wrong. So he was dodging pretty much every attack until I realized, oh, no, wait, that skill stat already factors in this other stat. So I should have just been adding that one. And I made that much harder than it should have been. And I was like, I'm sorry. That's my bad. It wasn't you guys. It was entirely me.
It is a fair mistake when you look at the stat blocks, but we did feel the burn.
And I was like, I'm going to heal you guys for like 15 wounds free of charge because that was my bad.
Well, and I'll put this out in the verse now. When we play Star Trek in a couple of weeks, I have never GM'd Star Trek Adventures. I've never GM'd or played second edition. And I've never GM'd any iteration of Modiphius's 2D20 system. I've only played it in Fallout. So I will be learning along with all of you.
Again, that's basically what this part also is like. Part of Session Zero is often like, yeah, sometimes Session Zero is the same for the GM too. And they should be honest with that. Basically say, we're working together, we're new at this, let's be on the same playing level.
Fun.
Exactly. That can also be the same for basically saying, hey, when I run encounters or when you have action scenes where it's like turn-based, feel free to let me know afterwards if you need me to scale back the fight. Like, that was too hard, too difficult, or you got bored. Tell me what you could have done better.
Or we got stuck in an action and consequence loop.
Yeah. We'll freely admit we were kind of missing someone for that, but this is more like when I did the Terror Droid fight, and you kind of agreed where I was like, maybe I gave it too much armor and stuff.
Yeah, that was like there's always.
I'm never going to forgive you for killing my boy.
Yeah, that was just crit die.
Session Zeros are meant to like create the sort of background between like the behind the scenes between player and GM dynamic. It's like, when can you should I voice my concern now, or would it be better to talk afterwards? Because again, there's possibly players would be like, we don't want to interfere with what's going on, but we see a problem.
The more I think about it, the more I'm liking the idea of putting the agreement out there where everybody can see it after it's all come to agreement in Session Zero.
Especially with things like that. You brought up the Discord pins. Pins have been very useful in all of our games so far. We're sharing resources, and even this would be very good with that. Or just having if you're just a group that's beating every so often, having a sheet that you can just put out in the middle that everyone can look at.
I mean, you can. There's plenty of free websites out there for managing campaigns that you can use and put the document there as well.
Yeah.
If you're running an online game, an online game or an in-person game.
a shared Google Doc.
Yeah.
There's ways to make sure that everyone is aware of what is expected, sort of a code of conduct.
Yes, and in fact, another thing you can think on Session Zero is kind of like in a video game. How difficult do you want any types of fights to be? Not just universe wise, to where like in Delta Green or Arkham Horror, it is stacked against you because these are literal monstrosities and you're just the average Joe. But just how difficult do you want this to be? Do you want it to be nail biting to where you're worried just one bad roll can kill you? Or do you want to be more freeform to where you're kind of the heroes fighting off waves? You'll still take hits from time to time, but there's no real danger of you falling.
Do you want a story mode, basically?
Yeah.
Do you want the story mode, or do you want the Dark Soul mode?
Are you in a standard action adventure movie, or are you in a realistic movie where actions have realistic consequences?
Yes.
And that can vary by player, but it's like you could then meet in the middle where you want to with the players.
Does getting knocked out 15 times in a season by being hit on the head, like happened to Giles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, cause no damage? Or does it cause a traumatic brain injury?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like certain systems are coded into like Alien. If you get hit hard, like bye.
Yeah, like Alien, Walking Dead, you're squishy.
Yeah.
But say like in a D&D session, in a D&D game, you have a varying amount. Like you could be at level 1 just slaughtering an army of goblins, or one goblin could get lucky and one shot you with an arrow.
Yeah, it's more like D&D, Star Wars, Cyberpunk. In a way, you can kind of balance that out depending on the encounter. But it's basically like how tough do you want this to be? And not just in combat, but maybe just life in general. Like in Cyberpunk, you also have to worry about your money because you have bills to pay. Well, would you want me to like maybe raise the bills higher? Because maybe there's a better, there's even a worse recession one month where
Star Wars, there's entire systems about like repairing your ship. It's like that gets pretty pricey.
Yeah, one of the sidebars in the Edge of the Empire core rulebook is keep them hungry, and there's an entire fan supplement that has been out for years called Operational Costs that is all about it's all about keeping them hungry.
Yeah, basically, do you want them to feel the sting of the economy is a real thing? You're not just swimming in currency. It's like you actually have bills you need to pay.
It's like you have credits. It's like, well, guess what? You have credits, but also you have to pay the docking fee. You got to pay the docking fee. You got to also repair the ship. The ship's going to take time to repair.
You got to fuel up the ship.
And fuel prices are pretty high in the Outer Rim.
You got to fuel up the ship. You got to stock the ship with provisions because you're still eating while you're traveling.
You got to buy up that toilet paper because refreshing is a thing.
So basically, you could make it a lot more crunchy or not crunchy. Just like part of that is discussing what the players and you want to do.
You could even be the dreaded D&D group that's like, weight's actually a thing. You got to watch your weight.
Or
you have a bag of holding. It actually has a limit for once. It's like
yes.
Or you.
It can hold anything up to a certain amount of weight.
You could be in a Star Wars game where you have to meticulously track the components to repair your damaged capital ship, and all of the credits that you have, and the inventory of support craft and everything that's on board, and have spreadsheet after spreadsheet after. I'm sorry, I'm having a traumatic flashback here.
I don't know if that's Far Orbit or that one campaign you keep talking about in Space Station.
No, it's not Far Orbit.
The Space Station, the 6-month Space Station.
Yes. Or even the dreaded, maybe gravity belts are rare now in Star Wars and that everyone can just get one.
They pulled it out of the book that it was originally published in.
I believe them. So maybe I should start making a GM role. No crap belts.
It's in Ogdudes. It's available to me. You have to take out
it only works in shortfalls. The longer higher, the battery runs out.
I did always imagine that. It's like eventually the battery's gonna run out if you're falling for long enough. Which is even more fun. It's like you're falling in slow motion and then suddenly the gravity turns back on.
Then
like,
suddenly you go Wile E. Coyote.
Yep.
What else did we want to amend onto our Session Zero Manifesto?
I think this is a good amount of like amends and sort of extrapolations of what we've already talked about.
I think the last thing I'll say is kind of more what a GM can tell a player. It's like, don't feel worried if you haven't hashed out an entire backstory in the beginning. Sometimes you make it up as you go along the way, because I know in Critical Role's campaign 2, my favorite character was Not, and Sam Riegel has said that he created her backstory throughout the game. He didn't have it already in the beginning.
Extrapolating on that's like Session Zero is usually functional around the GM, but the player should always feel that they have a voice.
Yes.
They should be able to ask a question. They should be able to like make a suggestion and say like the GM is ultimately the arbitrator, but is not the end all be all.
And
they
then
aren't the dictator.
On a final light note for GMs directly, make a table of names, because eventually the players will ask a random NPC you created, what's their name?
Yes. That's more a GM tool than a Session Zero tool, but yes.
Get it early.
True facts.
And very much. Get a table, just a bunch of random names. I cheat in Cyberpunk. I'll actually go into the actual 2077 game and just scan random people because they have all unique names. I'm like, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
So, somewhere on my laptop, I have a spreadsheet that I started for Star Wars names for NPCs and for rebel ships and smuggler ships and Imperial ships.
Yes. It's kind of Session Zero, kind of GM tool. Just get some type of list or spreadsheet.
Yep.
I have 30 NPC names for Morgantown alone for Fallout.
But all of them are variations on Slim Shady.
No, I actually made certain that they weren't. I had to
was Daryl one of them?
Yes, was Daryl one of them?
Actually, here's my secret.
You're always angry?
Yes. But my secret was most of them are Skyrim NPCs.
Nick. Plagiarist. You're going to...
It just works.
Oh, you just had to go there, Nick.
Todd would be proud.
Yeah, Nick. What? But I mean, he's giving us an opportunity to bully him for not being original.
Okay, Nick. If we take the detail that Todd is talking about and multiply it by 16, what's the result?
It's 16 times the detail.
Yes, but I want the product of that, not the equation. The answer is 76, your favorite game.
Oh.
But see,
well, that's proper bullying because that's math.
Yep. But Nick now has a shirt that says "Spread Math Love,"
and he's wearing it right now.
And we have the pictures to prove that he has this shirt.
And little does he know.
Maybe that's incentive.
I posed.
Maybe that's incentive to get people to sign up for Patreon. We'll put the pictures of Nick in the Spread Math Love shirt behind the Patreon wall.
It may be the first time people have seen him other than his face if they go to the website.
Yeah.
No. Still put the pony face over me. He's like,
I know what we can do, Daryl. In our merch store, you can now start doing shirts or mugs with calculator themes.
Well, see, I have to be careful that I don't get in trouble and get a cease and desist from my day job about that.
That's abacuses.
Because you work for big
Okay,
math.
then fine. You use the abacus. No one copyrights that anymore.
I'm pretty sure there's still a Pythagoras cult out there.
Nick wouldn't know because, well, he hates math, except for spreading the math love.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh man, I need to find out if the marketing person has gotten the coloring sheets made of a squirrel with a calculator.
All right, that's proper bullying. I feel attacked right in my soul.
Nick, you've told us that you sold your soul years ago. Millhouse has your soul. You sold it for $1. So
Is this true?
you can't feel that pain in your soul. Millhouse might.
Yeah.
I think that's our cue.
That is
We've
our
bullied
cue.
Nick. It's our cue for me to say, check out our website at howwerollgaming.com. And on that website, you'll find information about our current campaigns, which I need to get updated, our podcast archive, and links to our merch store, which, yay us, someone other than us bought merch from our merch store on Christmas Day before the sale ended and bought one of our Santa Claus is coming to town.
I knew it. I knew it'd be that one.
But the sweatshirt, not the t-shirt.
Nice.
But
oh, that's surprising because I thought I knew who it was, but it might just be someone I don't know then.
But we do want to thank you for being the first person to make that order. I'm hoping and presuming that you heard about it from the podcast as opposed to just stumbling across the shirt listing through a web search. But thank you for your order.
Yes, thank you very much.
You will also, in addition to the link to the merch store, find links to all of our social media.
Yes, and you can also directly support the show through Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/howwerollgaming, and you'll see there the different membership tiers we've listed, starting at just $2 a month, with special recognition on our Discord server, and higher tiers giving you on-air credit and discounts on said merch store.
Finally, if you have any questions you'd like us to answer, topics you'd like us to cover, or even submit your own RPG glory story, shoot us an email at podcast@howweroll.com.
No, howwerollgaming.com. Sending it to podcast@howweroll.com will not get that email to us.
Gaming,
or it'll get somewhere else we don't know.
howwerollgaming.com.
podcast@howwerollgaming.com.
The glasses on the profile, the glasses on my picture are not for joke. Bad eyesight.
But we want to thank you all for listening and for joining us again in 2026. And we look forward to a great year of episodes. We have a lot of fun stuff planned, and we hope that you will join us for those.
Special guests, very fun, very excited.
Yes, we will have special guests, all kinds of stuff. But until then, as always, I am Daryl.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Robert.
And this is How We Roll.